Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Helldivers 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zero. Let's get to it. So today it's all about teamwork, but before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. So let's get into it. So as we all know, teamwork makes the dream work. So if you want to play Helldivers solo, you certainly can, but it will be more difficult. Helldivers was intended to be a 4-player co-op game, so it is best to play with 3 other players. Do you have to? No, you don't. You can play with 1 other player, you can play solo, you can play with 3 players, you can play with 4 players. It's all what you want to do. It's up to you. Just know that playing with less than 4 players, it will be more difficult. So assuming you're playing with at least 1 other player, what do you do when you're playing with other people? Do you play to the objective? Do you play to get, the samples or super credits or war bond medals? Or are you just in it to get that main objective and then get out? So part of playing with other people is playing as a team. If you're playing with random people, it's going to be more difficult if you're not using the microphone. There is a communications wheel that you can use to talk with other players, but there's no guarantee that there is that option that you're wanting to convey. There's a yes, a no, a thank you, a sorry, a follow me, and, I need supplies. Anything beyond that might be a little bit difficult to convey. And the other thing, of course, is that you can only do 1 click on the wheel every, 5 or 10 seconds. So, you can mark locations on the map. That usually is a good indicator of where you're going. You can say, hey, guys, follow me, or whatever. But beyond that, you might want to use the microphone and be like, "Hey, don't get on the shuttle yet, or don't aggro the enemies until after that eagle is called in, or whatever." Or let's do this stealthy and not get seen at all. Plus, some of these things, like this point of interest here, you have to have 2 players in order to open the bunker. So it makes it impossible doing it solo. And, you never know what is in there. It could be requisition credits, it could be war bond medals, it could be samples, it could be guns, support weapons. So you don't really know until you actually open it up. And the only way to open it up is with 2 players. You can't be at 2 places at the same time, so that's just the way it is. So like I said, you really want to play with at least 1 other player. And if you're on the microphone, it's much easier to convey what you're, trying to do or what you're trying to say. We're a little bit too close to that walking barrage. Usually, wherever you throw it down is where it hits, but the walking barrage, of course, is going kind of in more or less in a line. The barrages are all kind of shotgun approach. Just put down a whole bunch of explosions or ammunition in a specific area or line, and then hopefully that takes care of the majority of your problems. So here we go. We already got the launch codes. We're going for the ICBM. We're all together. And that's one of the other things. If you're playing in a group, either 2 or 3 or 4, do you split up? If you're in a group of 4, do you split up and have 2 people go one direction, 2 people go another direction? Do you have everyone go separately, so everyone's more or less solo? Or do you all stick together? Or do you have 3 people stick together and one person kind of go off on their own? Some of these maps, it makes sense to at least split up into 2 groups and not have everyone together. And as you get into higher level difficulty missions, it becomes more important to have a plan. One of the things that you'll notice is that the bugs will just kind of hoard one location if you're all together versus if you are spread out, or one person is kind of the bait, so to speak. So if you have if you're at an objective location and there are too many bugs in the area because you're on difficulty 8 or difficulty 9 or even difficulty 4, it doesn't really matter. If there's a bunch of bugs in the area where you have to do an objective and it takes a while to do it, like the ICBM, it makes sense to have one person draw the enemies away and have someone who is going to try to be more stealthy. Don't call in resupplies, don't call in support weapons, don't call in sentry guns. Just kind of be there and, don't be seen. There are a few things that I found so far that will draw the attention of the enemies, whether it's the enemy patrols or nests or what have you. So if you call in a stratagem, a red one, whenever you call in a stratagem, of course, back up just a minute here. Whenever you call in a stratagem, you notice that it'll either have a blue beacon as it's coming down or a red. If it's red, then it's aggressive, like a barrage or an eagle strike. If it's blue, then it is, a sentry gun or resupply or a support weapon. So calling in any stratagem is going to draw the attention. If you fire your gun or throw a grenade, that is also going to draw the attention of the enemy. So the best thing to do is to not be seen, and if you do get seen, then you have to run far enough away from them that they're not, they no longer have line of sight, and they kind of get confused and they go back to doing what they were doing before, whether that was patrolling or what have you. Oh, now we have a bug breach. We got to deal with that. Luckily, we're all together, so we don't have to worry too much about it. Because it's a lower difficulty. It's a difficulty 4. And we've got a decent number of stratagems that we can use. All right. Like I said, this is a really good one to have someone come in as a decoy, pull the enemies away from the location, and then just have one person there at the terminal dealing with the inputs. And since there's a lot of kind of like waiting You have to wait for that missile to pop out of the ground, and then you have to wait for it to fuel, etc. It makes a lot of sense to do it that way. Do you have to? No, obviously not. It's just less ideal. And some people don't even realize that it's an option for them. They say, "Wait, there's stealth in the game. You can be stealthy in the game." Yeah, you can be stealthy in the game if that's how you want to play. And I know that the General Brass doesn't really care for that particular method. It's cowardly, hiding too much. But it's definitely one way that you can play it. Sooner or later, you will get seen, especially at higher level difficulty. I remember on the original Helldivers game that I would kind of challenge myself to go through solo without being seen by the patrols, which partially meant that you had to take out patrols if they got too close or avoid the patrols. But that also meant that you had to be very careful and you had to check the radar quite often. Because once you're seen, then you have to fight or you have to run. And either way, it is going to take you a decent amount of effort in order to stay concealed, unknown, kind of a 007 exercise. Although 007 was not very stealthy. Stealthy when he had to be, I guess. But most of the time, no. No, not at all. Oop, and we just happened on this. Looks like a heavy nest. There's a decent number of holes, bug holes that we need to deal with. If you have a grenade launcher, autocannon, EAT, recoilless rifle, those I think all can close the holes. If you have enough grenades, obviously you're not going to have enough grenades for a nest this size. With any type of armor, there are armor that will give you an extra 2 grenades, but you're talking about a total of 6 grenades, and there's already more than 6 bug holes that we've had to close. You can see though the wobble of your scope. Now, one of the things that you may notice is that if you knock out all of the nests or outposts, if you're fighting the automatons, that extraction will actually be easier. So if you want an easier extraction, you might want to go around and take out all of the nests. There's still one more bug hole here that we need to deal with if we want to close out this nest. And it's a heavy, so it's a heavy nest. There were 10 bug holes. I don't remember exactly. A decent number of them. There's going to be a bug breach if we keep fooling around. So we either have to go ahead and take care of it, and it just makes it more difficult with those chargers around. Oh, it looked like I got the stem, but it said, "Psych, you did not. You got interrupted just beforehand." It's one of those times when it's more important to watch the health bar versus the animation. Alright, so I lost my support weapon, so I can go through here and take my grenade and close up that last hole. I always feel like, oh, that was not all of them. There was one more on the last one. So I had 8 out of 10. The numbering system was a little bit weird. Ooh. Watch out for that. Don't have any bullets in the magazine for that autocannon. And as you know, you cannot load your own ammo for some of these support weapons. The grenade launcher and the railgun are the ones that you can. Autocannon, the spear, the recoilless, those you cannot. And then, of course, the eat is a one-time deal anyway, so... Oop, I hope that went in. Yes. Like, yay. Alright, now let's move on and move forward. Man, it's rough. It is rough when you have a charger in a mission, let alone 2 or 3. Now, with a team of Helldivers, it does make it a little bit easier, where one person acts as the decoy for the charger and everyone else is trying to take it out. You can just use your primary weapon if you're hitting the right spot, or use a stratagem, use a railgun. But what if you're not high enough in player rank, or you don't have enough requisition credits in order to get the railgun and use that? Well, you can use the anti-tank, or that will take off the armor. I've seen chargers take 2 or 3 anti-tank bullets, missiles, and still keep going. Oof, yeah, when he gets right next to you, it gets real dicey real quick. And I was really I remember the first time I got the 500 kilogram, I was really excited. I was like, wow, I finally got this bomb that's like a mini nuke, and it turned out that it wasn't. It was a little disappointing. That the 500 had such a small explosion radius, where it basically has to be right on top of, the charger or the Bile Titan or whatever the case may be. It has to be right, almost center in order for it to do any damage at all, or even have the ability to take it out. Oof. Now, the one nice thing about stims is that if you're out of stamina, that'll bring you all the way back to full, which is nice. One of the things you'll notice as the difficulty increases is that almost, if not every point of interest, has a guard presence there. So it's not like you can sneak into and around these points of interest, because there's almost always an enemy right next to wherever you need to go to pick up that sample or whatever might be around. Now, you might see these hell bombs sitting around that are kind of sparking. They are armed and active, but they have not gone off. So if you hit it with a little bit of fire, you just have to hit it with one bullet and then run. like your life depends on it, because it does. And the hell bomb will go off about 3 seconds later. So that's something important to know, that some people don't realize. So if you're being followed by a whole bunch of enemies, you can hit that hell bomb if you come across one and just run, and that'll take out a whole bunch of them. That does even better, I would say, than the 500 kilogram. It's got a much bigger radius. Now, if you were paying attention, there was a crate that was buried in the ground, but the door was shut. If you hit it with explosive, so like a grenade, it'll open it up and it'll have something inside of it. It might just be a support weapon, but it could be super credits, it might be requisition credits, it could be war bond, it could be a couple of samples. It's more or less random. All right, we've had enough here, enough fun on this map. We're ready to go, I think. So we're going to go ahead and call in the drop ship and get out. But playing to the objectives, playing as a team, all those things are going to help you out in the short run and the long run. You're talking about having, say, someone to reload your autocannon for you, or you reloading someone else's autocannon, or recoilless, or whatever the case may be, spear. Now, what do you think about these support weapons that require a teammate in order to reload? Are they worthwhile, or are they not worthwhile? But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
Say hello to democracy! ETA, T-minus 30 seconds. Pulling down a support weapon! ETA, T-minus 20 seconds. Reloading you! ETA, T-minus 10 seconds. Pelican 1 arriving at coordinates. I'm out. Pelican 1 landing sequence initiated. Throwing supply beacon. Pelican 1 preparing to depart. Shuttle launch in 20 seconds. Extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning ascent. Another victory for the right side of history.
手。